decide to spread your wings?
The wife. The wife made me spread my wings with the GT40.
So we're back here on the live chat at the 7-spot stand at the Newark Kit Car Festival. And with us today, we have got John Freeman from AK Sports Cars, renowned for their GT40, 427 replicas, and also coming up XKSS.
The AKSS, and next year a D-Type replica.
So you're pretty much cornering the replica market.
Yeah, you could say that.
So I thought we just, for a bit of a change, wind back time a bit to where AK started, because you're one of the most established names within the kit car industry, and it goes all the way back to the 1980s and your father, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. It was actually just before the 80s, I think in the very late 70s. My father came to a kit car show, just like this one, wanted a hobby, wanted to build a car, saw a Cobra, and bought one and built it. He then, one of his close friends said, "I did a great job, could you build me one?" So he bought another kit and built that. He, at the same time, was a silent partner in a glass fibre company. Small, low-key glass fibre company.
I can see a link coming here.
Yep, so you got it. So he approached the guys that he was buying the kits from and said, "Look, your bodies are particularly good. How about you give me a body, I'll improve it, I'll take a mould, I'll supply you with bodies." So he spent 18 months, nights, weekends, his own time, made a body mould. In that time, the original company went bust, so he ended up with a body mould with no one to sell it to. So I can remember I was probably 15, so a couple of years ago. We went to Stoney Kit Car Show with a body skin, sat in the cow sheds, and thought, "Well, see what happens." Excuse me. And that's how it all started. And that would have been, 35 years ago.
So did someone come along and say, "That's a nice body, I've got the chassis to go with it," or how did it develop?
So he started to sell a couple of bodies within the industry, and that's how it ran for 12 months. It was always a little hobby. He then went to a Cobra Club meeting, local meet, got friendly with a chap called Alan, who had got a Cobra, and turns out he was a fabricator. So he said, "Well, why don't we make a chassis?"
I can see where this bit's going as well.
Yeah, see, straightforward. So they put their heads together, designed a chassis, grafted the body on, and hence AK Sports Cars began. So obviously my dad's called Ken, and his then business partner was Alan, hence the A and K.
And of course, the few people out there that are younger than you and me, the 80s were a bit different in the way that kit car manufacturers came and went. It really, in today's terms, it's a bit like trains in a station, wasn't it? There would seem to be new companies coming every week and disappearing the following week. So to come from there to be here is quite incredible.
Yeah, for the first 5 or 6 years, it was a hobby. They would sell probably, 4 or 5 a year, go over at weekends and make a body, make a chassis. But you're right, back in the 80s, 90s, late 90s, I think at one point there was probably 12 or 13 Cobra replica companies. So yeah, there was a lot.
So you started off with a Cobra back in the day. Oh, I do hate that phrase. Back in the day, what car was it based on then? Was it like a single donor kit?
No, so it was always the one my father produced was Jaguar based. So you used to buy Jaguar XJ 6 axles, and that was the base of the build. They normally fitted Rover SD1 engines in, but back then, my dad's first car cost £6,000. to build from start to finish, painted, done. But you used to go around scrapyards, you used to find lights from a Mini, you used to pull a wiring loom out of a car and go, that'll work. Of course, nowadays, you can't do that. And look, nowadays the cars are so much better than they were back in the 80s.
And that's been, everyone we talked to today, that's been the big thing, that the quality has gone up considerably over the years from where we were back in the 80s. And with some of the projects of which we will not speak and what they brought to the market, yeah, they had their place maybe at the time, but now the customer demand or expectation is so much higher than it was 40 years ago.
Yeah, also the customers have changed. You go back 25 years and the guys were proper kit car builders. They didn't mind getting their hands mucky, going to scrap yards. Oh, this doesn't fit, but I've made it fit. Nowadays, if it doesn't work, if it doesn't fit, they're on the phone. The skills have gone, that they have gone, 25 years ago, I used to watch my dad weld and go, well, I'll have a go at that. Well, nowadays, people don't do it. It's just a thing of the past.
Yeah, fixing and maintaining cars is something you go to a specialist for, not where you sort of pick up your Haynes manual and find out how to do it yourself.
This is why we're no good at computers, but we're great with a welder.
Yeah, I could agree with that, and I think our production guy will say exactly the same when it comes to weird computers. So, as things evolve, then let's take it back to the mid '80s. We've got Jaguar-based Cobras. How did things develop then as we went through the '80s into the '90s and 2000s?
So, until for 10 or 15 years, XJ6 Jaguars, the chassis didn't develop, everything was fine. Probably the biggest change was people started to put American engines in. The price started to go up. Up until probably 2000, not a lot actually changed. It was only kind of in that area, the period of time, 15 or 20 years ago, that XJ6 parts were getting scarce. So you move to the next set of axles, you improve your chassis, you do a new one, you do your own wishbones. Then you go to the more modern engines. So they naturally can progress. We put power steering on the car. So it was just a natural progression. Obviously, the quality of everything improves. The glass fiber products, they're far superior now to 30 years ago. So all of a sudden, the bodies are better quality. Your paint work, you're paying more money now, you're getting better quality paintwork. So interior, you do learn. Every car we build, we learn, we get better, we do something different. So it's kind of a natural progression. So yeah, I get cars in that are 25-year-old and go, Jesus, is this what they were like to drive? Is this how they were? But back then, they were brilliant.
But you can say the same for modern cars. You go back 25 years on a Fiesta or a Focus, they're a completely different animal. So everything develops as time goes on.
That's right. It's exactly the same. You wouldn't now buy a car without power steering.
But very much so. Now, that's sort of followed the Cobra development. How suddenly is, over the last few years, suddenly you've got D-types, XKSS, GT40s coming into the game. What made you sort of decide to spread your wings?
The wife made me spread my wings with the GT40. She's always wanted one, and to be honest with you, got sick and tired of the nagging. An opportunity came up, and we took over Southern GT. So the GT40 was more the wife rather than me, although I do love the car and I've always liked them. It's just I have to do all the work. She comes up with all the ideas. The Jaguar was, the SS was my business partner Neil's idea. He wanted to work with me. We knew where the product was available, or the body molds. So that's how the SS came into AK. So kind of that's how. But it's the missus that tells me what to do.
And I'm guessing, I know originally they were different cars, but underneath the D-Type and the SS, presumably there's some similarities there.
Yeah, that's right. The D-Type uses the same chassis as the Cobra, slightly different on floor pan and everything, but all the suspension, running gear is the same on the two cars. So it was a little bit easier to develop the D-Type, same wheelbase, and similar to build, to be honest with you.
So we've got quite a full stable there now. Is there anything else you're looking to add?
No, I'm looking to retire.
And slight variation of that question, is there anything you haven't built that you would have liked to have built?
No, there's a lot of cars that I would like to have that are here, a few cars. I'd like a Stratos, I think would be great fun. Good looking car, wouldn't want to build one, probably not. The little Speedster, again, it's a nice girly car. They're probably two of the cars that I would quite like to have on the drive. But I've built too many cars to want to keep building and building and building and building. I still enjoy it, but yeah.
Yeah, and you've got a nice range there, I guess, because if somebody walks in the door, they may have in their head they're on a Cobra, but it's not too much of a sideways step if they want an SS or a D-Type.
Yeah, that's right. They are completely different customers. Cobra people are Cobra people. You find with the D-Types, the SSs, it's a completely different clientele. The older, maybe more sensible gentlemen. So yeah, they are completely different. And again, look, the GT40, Cobra guys want a GT40. A lot of them really want a 40. We put a post up on our website or on our Facebook. Which would you prefer? And that picture of both the cars. And it's a 50-50 split.
I find that quite interesting because, as I alluded to there, I thought the natural sidestep would be Cobra to a D-Type or an SS, but it's actually to a GT40. But I guess if you go back in the era of 60s, when those cars were first about, they were a similar time, but the Jaguars were about a decade before, weren't they?
Yeah, the D-Types were kind of mid to late 50s, 57, 58. And obviously the Cobras were early 60s with the 40s, 63, 64, 65. But yeah, the natural kind of side step is a Cobra. People tend to shy away a bit from the 40s because they think they're a hard build, very complicated. No, they're not. They just take more time to build. They cost more money to build, but they're worth more money finished.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for that, John. It's been really appreciated, really interesting to understand how AK is sort of came about and how we got to where you are today.
No, you're more than welcome.
So we'll put a link to the AK site below, and we really hope you've enjoyed this interview. And if you have, it'd be great if you could click that like and subscribe button for the 7 Spot YouTube channel.